Hello, everybody. Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you on a Friday, and that means it's time for the weekend big show here on Law Dog Sports. And a lot of fun we will have today here with you, as it is a big-time preview. Hello, everybody. Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, here with you on a Friday. And that's what I am. All right. Mute the YouTube feed, dumbass. All right. We're back here with you. Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways, with me here today. And Jeremy, one of these days, I'm going to get this whole, production thing correct. But as for now, we got off to a nice start, just a little bit of blip there. But it is a weird week in Oklahoma, as I golfed on Monday out at Romano's, not Foss, as one Connor Carr would lead people to believe on Twitter. But I got out to golf on Romano's on Monday, and the high was 88 in western Oklahoma. And then it dropped out the bottom, and it's just been kind of misty and funky and ever since. But I think today's supposed to be a pretty nice day.
It is not here. It's what does it say? 43 degrees, and it's misting.
Yeah, it's damp here. It's real humid. A lot of fog and mist. But I heard it's supposed to get up to 52 today. I'll call that a win.
I'll take it. But I'm not hanging out in it.
Yeah, I'm not getting out and golfing, I promise you. It's
I wish that'd have been nice. It was beautiful Monday. Unfortunately, I had to work, but a lot of people took off to go play golf. I should have myself.
Yeah, we had the course pretty well to ourselves. I heard Sunday was super busy out at Romano's, but it's just that's the thing about Oklahoma. We're not quite Arizona or Rio Grande Valley, but you can get a handful of days to get to golf in the wintertime. We're streaming live on our YouTube channel. Sorry about that. We're streaming live on our YouTube channel at Law Dog Sports, and we switched it up a little bit today at the request of or a poll of some of our listeners to be able to stream a little easier on YouTube. So we'll do that. But this episode will also be available on our SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple podcast pages. Also, we're not live on Facebook or Twitter, but that could be around the corner, Jeremy, because remember when we did our episode with Corey Hogue, he had mentioned a function or a service that you can set up your podcast to stream to everything, and that would go a long ways to assisting us.
That would be great. We should have got in on the USAID train and got some funding.
No kidding. Hey, you're a federal employee. How'd you let us skip out on that?
I didn't know. I didn't know they were just giving money to everybody for anything.
When I saw they gave money to Georgia, I was like, that damn Kirby Smart. And then it turned out to
country
be
Georgia.
Country of Georgia.
Oh.
What were they buying them? Driving lessons or what?
Something like that. Supercars.
Yeah, Supercard. Hey, by the way, if you haven't noticed on the video broadcast, I'm rocking the Washington State.
Wazoo.
Yeah, I felt like I should, out of tribute and appreciation to the great Washington State University football program, because I saw a video of women's gymnastics, and John Mateer already endearing himself to folks down in Normantown with some attendance and support of the lady gymnasts at OU. And so, man, thank you, Wazoo, for Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer. That's probably going to be something we will look back, and I think it's going to be something we'll look back and say that was a nice pickup.
I was going to say, not so fast, my friend. We still got a season to play, but I'm optimistic. And I thought maybe you were attributing the Washington State coaching legend, Mike Price.
Mike Price. That's something when we had Mike Steely on, we should have brought up his parody of Roll Tide Roll, Hoochie Coo. When Mike Price got kind of brought down from Bama lore with the strip club trip. Man, him and Larry Eustace could before social media and viral things, he and Larry Eustace were two guys that just got totally lightning strike in a bottle.
Oh man, can you imagine? Can you imagine those two if Twitter had been a thing? Oh my gosh, the epic threads, just great.
I want to go back in time and establish Twitter during the Switzer days.
Oh my goodness. Oh boy.
Urban Meyer's
Now,
Urban Meyer
if
probably have nothing on that. But
if
anyway,
social media had been a thing in the 1970s and 80s, and Norman, Oklahoma would have been a crater.
yeah, it would have never got off the ground. So, hey, we ran a poll on our Twitter page this week, and it was a question to our followers: what is your go-to sport in the spring? And interestingly enough, Jeremy, women's softball picked up the winner on that one, and by like 67% of the vote, and that was interesting because it just shows the regionality of our program and our followers. People love some Patty Gasso. People love some OU softball, and now OSU softball is super competitive, and just really a pretty cool thing about sports in the state of Oklahoma is the fact that you've got something really big to follow kind of year round.
Yeah, yeah, and it's human nature. People love winners
Yeah.
until they win too much, and then they hate winners,
Yeah.
but they tune in to
hence
witness
the
the downfall, right?
hence the hat you're wearing today.
Yes.
Yeah, college softball 64%, college baseball 14%, and the MLB 21%. We did have a comment on the poll that said his gentleman profile said UFL.
Canadian football.
Canadian football, UFL. I'm a big Houston Gamblers fan.
TGL.
Yep. Be sure and interact with us here on the program on our YouTube channel. And we are live, as we mentioned. We will read your comments on the air when you want to chat with us. And so, Jeremy, I've got a laundry list of stuff here. We'll kind of hit the high points first before we get into NBA trades and the Thunder and Spurs, and then also Super Bowl licks. It's 59, right?
59, yes.
Yeah.
LIX.
LIX.
Licks.
Super Bowl licks.
Now I should
Real quick,
it's like, what the hell's he talking about?
big win last night, bro. You softball out at a festival in warmer temperatures. Grand Slam by Miss Emmerling against San Diego State. And then saw today on the tweeter about Ethan Downs being invited to the Combine.
Awesome.
That's good news because Ethan had the flu all during the Senior Bowl and did not get to participate. And then, honestly, I talked to his dad because, he's a Weatherford kid. They weren't necessarily 100% certain he would get invited to the Combine. So it's a big deal for him to get to go get a chance. He was projected as a possible second rounder last year. I can't imagine.
Yeah. I mean, he's a roster guy. I mean, the kid's motor was insane when he was at OU. The defenses weren't always good, but he was always around the football.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he'll make a roster.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a great
round,
kid.
Third round, fourth.
Yeah.
Second or third day.
Great kid, great character kid, great, like you said, great motor. And he's humongous. I mean,
work ethic.
He does not lack size. And
man, you want to talk about a kid that benefited from those Schmitty workouts. I mean, seeing him when they were doing those weird kettlebell resistance bands workouts under Muleshoe to Schmitty having him out there pulling tractors and doing insane boxing kangaroos, just old school workouts. He gained probably 15 pounds of rip.
Yeah. He came to the Coyote Studios one time. I interviewed him for the podcast I did when I was with them. And I'm 6'1", 240, and that's not really muscular proportion.
It's a different 6'1", 240.
Yeah. I'm not, you've seen me. I'm not a small guy.
No.
And he just dwarfed me, and it was just stunning. And what was funny is I met Aiden Kelly also doing a podcast there. And he's a defensive tackle, nose guard, basically. And it seemed like, I guess it's that lower center of gravity, and it's still a big kid. I mean, just enormous kids, but Ethan's height was just kind of like, wow.
Yeah.
But anyways, congratulations to Ethan Downs, and we'll look forward to seeing him perform I know what we've referred to it before, but the combine as it's
the Underwear Olympics.
So, anyways, hey, how about former Sooner Tony Jefferson? He got a vote or two on the NFL Comeback Player of the Year. He was just out of the league and then came
He
back.
wasn't out of the league, but he was a scout with the.
Well, he was working in the front office of.
Was it the Bills or the Ravens? Somewhere in the AFC.
I think it was the Ravens or the.
Yeah,
or was it the Chargers?
He was a scout working in a cubicle watching tape, and
yeah,
just called his agent, and they found a spot, and he came in to the. I always want to say San Diego because it's just feels so right, but the LA Chargers.
Yeah, the LA.
Man, he was good. It's really good. The guy he could always play. It just seemed like he never found that right fit. I hope this is a fit where he can play for a few years.
He had some big years with Arizona. I mean,
he did.
He had enough big years with Arizona that Baltimore wanted him, and we know they focus on defense a lot. But
they did pay him, but it just didn't seem like it lasted that long.
No,
out of the league.
The league is just it's interesting how it works for certain guys. But what a hitter, man! I mean, that guy always laid the wood, and yeah, you said it, dollar signs.
Can't pay money, dollar signs.
But. Where's he rank in the all-time OU defensive backs?
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
Well, he kind of played that cheetah position, so he was kind of that hybrid safety, Roy back, linebacker position. But man, you always got like Ricky Dixon.
Yeah, I mean, and I know performance in Crimson and Cream is kind of the crux of that question, but really, I mean,
for my money, Sonny Brown's on that list.
Yeah. I'm talking about even, taking equal talent to the league.
Stoops era, about those guys probably. Well, Roy was a first-round pick. I don't remember where Tony went. He may have been one of those guys
he wasn't a high pick, but
I think he left early, and it was probably one of those situations where he would have benefited from another year in college. But there have been some good defensive backs. He's right up there at the top with them.
Is Trey Brown still in the league?
He is. He's with Seattle.
Yeah, he's good. Tony's just one of those guys to me. I would put him top 2, top 3 all time as far as not just at OU what they did, because he might not have been on some of the great teams. And I know Roy was outstanding in college, just a true trailblazer in the position. But for my money, Tony, man, just he brought the wood everywhere he came, everywhere.
Yeah. And probably, career after college, he's probably the best one.
I was going to say, I mean, Roy was a first round pick, had some all-star years with.
He had some good years with Dallas.
Yeah.
I think
when they did away with the horse tackle, it's like his career kind of spiraled.
Yeah. When they name a rule after you, you're probably done.
Hey, earlier this week, we had an episode on Wednesday night where we visited with John Moore from the, I'm going to butcher the DLLS Rangers Weekly podcast. And you remember John Moore from our KSCY days. And John Matthews from 95.5 The Coyote was on with me. And after we got done talking Rangers baseball, which you can see that episode on all of our avenues, all of our podcasts, our YouTube page, just go to the website, lawdogsports.com. But I was talking SWOSU football signing day with John Matthews because he does so much PA announcing for SWOSU Sports. And Jeremy, I'd be remiss to not bring up one of the great SWOSU alums, and by SWOSU, I mean Southwestern Oklahoma State University, one Rob Ryan. Recent acquisition by Muleshoe, who you referred to earlier.
The
linebackers coach under Danton Lynn at USC. This was a little bit from his press conference.
Watch where we finish this year. This guy is special. He's special. He knows how to get it done. He's a great communicator, great teacher. He's fun to be around. He makes everybody better, including the coaches. And, we'll see. I'm looking forward for the, spring ball or whatever. I can't wait. We're going to go against the best. Oh, good. Bring it on. Let's see. I can't wait to see that little JUCO kid from Hutch. Bam! We're going to get after it. But anyway, it'll be great. We're excited.
That's just a little bit. That's 30 seconds of the full 2.5 minute clip.
You know what that sounds like?
What?
That sounds like a football coach is getting ready to perform a coup on the defensive side of the ball.
Those Ryan boys, I mean,
Step aside,
they are,
Danton.
they're alpha males, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't come in and take a back seat. And like I said, the most heralded SWOSU alums out there for the football program. And you know, hey, I retweeted it and said Trojans win the Natty in 2027. Just saying, because here's the reason I say that. That's flippant, I realize, but here's the reason I say that, Jeremy.
Oh no, it's not flippant. It's insane.
The Ryans bring a thanks. The Ryans bring an aggressiveness and a swagger to a defense that if you're lacking it, man, they bring it in buttloads. And I credit Rex Ryan with the transition that the Stoops brothers were able to make with the defense in Norman after the 98 season, because that 98 defense, John Blake was a terrible head coach. They had no offense, but man, that defense, they brought the heat. And except for a big pass play by Opie Applewhite, you know, for what, 98 yards, I think. Before the Navy game, I think it was the longest pass play. But anyways, I mean, to me, the aggressiveness that Rex Ryan set up, and Rob did the same thing a bit at OSU, just not with the talent level that they had in Norman. But it was an interesting press conference. Did you see that Lane Kiffin retweeted it and said he got asked if this was AI, and he said, no, that's total Rob.
And that's the thing. I would probably be a little more on board with your comment about them winning.
Yeah, I mean,
had he been hired as a defensive coordinator, but we saw the defense last year. It was not a whole lot better than the Speed D Grinch style defense. We'll see what impact he makes with, you know, coaching backers. Like I said, maybe he performs a coup. They roll out the 46 and start getting after people. That'd be awesome.
Was that 22 OU defense that much better than the Speed D?
22 OU defense.
The 49-0 against Texas and the I mean, they beat up OSU that season, but they couldn't stop much else. So
that was the first year of them
BV.
Yeah, the first year.
Yeah.
Well,
so Danton Lynn comes in after 1 year.
Probably
I
not.
Realize it takes a year to recover from Alex Grinch. I mean, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what they got in the cupboard. I'm very curious to see how that works out. I know what Muleshoe's going to do. They're going to win a game against a team they have no business beating.
Be hyped up.
Like Louisiana State.
Yeah.
And then they're going to lose a couple games they have no business losing. And it'll be squarely on his shoulders for something that he had done, like squib kick or having the best running back on the field and running an end around on 4th and 1, not putting the ball in their best player's hands. We'll see. You know, the Big Ten top to bottom, best football conference in the nation. They got a tough road to hoe. I haven't looked at their schedule, but I know it'll probably be tough. Yep. It's not going to be a Big 12 schedule.
YouTube Live checking in. Marty Wandry said he sounds like Buddy. Sounds like Buddy. Well, yeah, that's
yeah.
I mean, Buddy. I mean, here's the thing: you can't bring in a guy and make him DC in the first year when he doesn't realize it's called a spring game. I mean,
well, he knows what it's called.
I know it.
Oh, they didn't play spring games at Oklahoma State when he was a DC. Remember, they'd get on that one crappy little AstroTurf field and have no risers around it. And everyone just kind of stood back to back and tried to see what was going on, and they just run drills.
Yeah, Marty Wandry checking in on YouTube from our second headquarters, Clinton Liquor in Clinton, Oklahoma. Dan Narva checking in. Morning, guys. Chuck, do you remember anything special from your life 2 years ago today? Mine was special, 3-hour ankle surgery. Yeah, I saw Dan on social media, and you know, those Michigan winners make it tough to go check the mail, I guess. And poor Dan, man, he was hemmed up hard from an ankle injury. But, you know, I mean, he ages in reverse, so I'm sure it's stronger now than it was 2 years ago.
Get the dogs and the sled out and go check the mail.
Yeah, I did a rod there to go check your mail. Hey, last night, Jeremy, was the Hall of Fame or the NFL awards, and I don't even want to talk about the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson
Okay, so I've been up
Said
since
I didn't want
6,
to talk about it.
and I haven't even checked. I know Jaden Daniels won the Rookie of the Year, which
Yeah,
yeah, he everyone knew that before the
yeah.
playoffs started. That was easy. Saquon, Offensive Player of the Year. Yeah, yeah. Probably should have been the MVP. Um, but it's a quarterback award, so whatever.
I
Who
mean,
was
they were.
Defensive Player of the Year? The Sertan from Denver.
Yeah, I think so. I
Okay.
basically paid attention to the Hall of Fame announcements, and
Sterling Sharp,
yeah,
finally.
how about that?
Long overdue.
Yeah,
The guy, for 10 years of his career, he was top
he was
five.
the guy.
The guy. Neck
Now
injury derailed his career, but man, he was dynamite.
he didn't have that many Favre years, right? Wasn't
No,
Mikowski like his
well,
primary QB?
see, Mikowski was only there for a couple of seasons before
Okay,
Favre supplanted him. I'm trying to remember who was before Mikowski. Gosh, it wasn't Lynn Dickey, was it?
no, I don't think so.
Bart Starr, I don't
Um,
remember.
but Sterling's the best Sharp in my mind. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Well,
he
ask
was like I
Shannon, he'll
said.
tell you.
When you think back to our younger years, Jeremy, in our 20s, when Sports Center was must see TV, your highlights from Green Bay were generally going to be a Sterling Sharp burn route, you
Oh,
know,
he
where
was
he just
great.
just blasted somebody. So man, kudos to him. Antonio Gates, a true trendsetter and
Easy.
easy tight end pick. Jared Allen and Eric Allen, you know, they're going to get defensive players. Jared Allen was a monster. I think his best hit was Johnny Knoxville on that on that crossing route on Jackass.
You got to love the what was it, tie the calf roping
Yeah,
celebration.
he'd calf rope somebody and on the sack. He was a monster.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, it,
What?
Eli got snubbed. 2 Super Bowls.
Chuck,
He doesn't get
Chuck.
enough credit.
Chuck.
He should have got in.
Okay, he'll get in eventually. He's not
He
a
will.
first ballot guy. He's not a first ballot guy. His name is first ballot. He's not a first ballot guy. Okay. Now, he's got as many Super Bowls as Peyton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch an NFL football game and think, outside of the 2 Super Bowls against Brady, that's a top 5 quarterback
Yeah,
in the league at the time?
I've always been high on Eli.
Well, I mean, Eli was a good player, but there were years where he was just on the struggle bus firmly, front and center. He wasn't. I don't ever see him as a top 5. Who are his contemporaries? Peyton, Brady, Favre, Rodgers. Is he better than any of them?
I would take him over Rodgers. Yeah.
3-time MVP.
I don't like. I don't
Rodgers?
like. I mean, here's the thing. Eli navigated New York media all that time. He
Well,
kept that.
great. He was good with the media.
No, I'm going to the playing field. He kept that team. You know, I mean, because look what the Giants have done since he left. Look what they did before he got there.
The Giants were, they won 2 Super Bowls with
Oh, I mean, I'm
Parcells.
talking. I mean, I'm not talking the Parcells years. You know, think about the '90s for the Giants.
90s. They won
Well,
in 92.
okay. After the Dallas run,
Yeah.
after their Super Bowl,
Well, that window had closed in the 2000s.
they
I'm
were
not
floundering.
saying he's not a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's a great player, but his numbers don't bear it out. His All Pros, he was never. I don't think he was ever first team All Pro. How many times did he make the Pro Bowl? 3 or 4 times in 15 years.
Yeah.
He won 2 Super Bowls, great, but was he ever top 10 in touchdown interception ratio? How many years did they miss the playoffs?
Yeah, but we value Super Bowls, Jeremy. And if you
I
win
understand that, but Dilfer's not in.
well, I mean,
He's got a
you
Super
got to
Bowl.
have a hand in the Super Bowl win, and Eli did.
Well, he did. He did have a hand in the Super Bowl win.
Marty
Threw a touchdown
Wandry
pass.
says,
He
Marty
suited up.
Wandry says Eli wasn't a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Thank you, Marty.
Dan Narva stumbling. How do I read this dang thing? Let's see here. Let me get rid of that. Dang it. I'd like to be able to see the comments. Dan Narva stumbling in the dark. the butt drag up the driveway wasn't fun. All right. So your memory sucks. It was the Anadarko game. Oh, 2 years ago. Well,
Oh,
I've tried to erase that since I went, semi-viral a week or so ago with the rematch and the well, they played a couple times, but it was back at Weatherford. But yeah, the infamous 4-2 game, I guess, was 2 years ago today. So thanks, Dan.
so
And all of the revenue that comes in from all those shares and posts, I've seen so much.
all right. So Eli led the league in interceptions 3 times.
Led
240
league?
led the league. He
Okay.
had 20 in 2007, 25 in 2010, and 27 in 2013. He never eclipsed 40 touchdowns. He had 35 was his career high, 366 touchdowns, 244 interceptions. Let's see, where's the 234 games started? Quarterback record, 117 and 117.
Well, then next time a quarterback is being considered and he hasn't won a Super Bowl, I don't want to hear crap about it. I don't shut up if they don't have a Super Bowl. It's all about the numbers, right?
Well, I mean, it
Not
has
about
to be
winning
some.
championships. It's
Well,
about
he
the
won
numbers.
2 titles. He won 2 titles.
Yeah.
And he'll get in. I'm
And
not
look who
saying
he
he's not a
beat.
Hall of Famer, Chuck. I'm just saying.
Look who he beat
it
those 2
doesn't upset
titles.
me. I
Who'd he
know.
beat in those 2
Well,
title
Nick
games?
Foles beat him too. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Dang right. Anyway, Michael Busso checking in. Good morning from Michael Busso, and last Red Friday of the year. UKC Chiefs fans, man, we should probably just do a Chiefs podcast on this thing. Just
Well, get on board, Chuck. Just surrender.
I just can't pick an NFL team, Jeremy.
Well,
I follow OU guys in the league.
Here's my thing. If you're not a fan of any team, where's your baseball team located?
Well, currently in Arlington, Texas.
Well, then I can't help you because I'll be damned if I encourage you to become a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, they fired Barry. I was done. It's just been watching
I
the
rooted
demise.
for him when Barry was the head coach,
Mhm.
but I rooted for Barry. Troy's kind of a jackwagon.
My dad was a huge Cowboys fan. I grew up, being a Cowboys fan, and they were on TV up in the Tulsa area when I was a kid a lot. But then, when they started winning with Troy, and I still had a little bit of, feels for him being a former OU quarterback. They won those 3, and I was kind of in on that. I wasn't following the NFL back in my 20s that strongly anyways. I had a life. But
Wow.
anyways, but then when they hired Barry, I was all in. And then when they won the championship with Barry, I was all in. And then they fired him not long after, and I was like,
that's all I wanted to see. They hired him.
Screw
He
them.
won a Super Bowl, and he
Yeah.
rode off into the sunset. And
what's funny?
I haven't given a rip about the Cowboys since.
No, not at all. And the Chiefs are a great story. I realize they're semi-regional. Let's just say this: if the Houston Texans would purchase the Oilers' rights to call themselves the Oilers and go back to the Love You Blue and all, that would be my team.
Well, you can still be a Texans fan.
No, it's got a cow.
You can.
It's got a cow on the side of the helmet. I will not root for a team that has a cow.
You
on
live
the
in
side.
cattle country, son.
I don't care. The Longhorn is the most worthless of all the cattle.
Well, it's not a Longhorn, though. It's not.
Well, it's not, but you know where I'm going with it.
I get it. I get it. Well,
I mean, I had to go through this Wednesday night with John Moore, his son, who we rooted for to overcome serious health, problems back 2-3 years ago, maybe 5. I can't remember 5 years ago, maybe, but Jeremy. I mean, John Moore's son's going to Texas. How can I deal with that?
My cousin's kid's going to Texas.
Ugh.
And I can't deal with it.
Yep.
I can't.
Marty Wandry says Red Kingdom and Chiefs, the original Dallas team. The Dallas
Texans.
Yeah,
okay. So hey, how about the Saints? What about the Saints? Could you do the Saints? New Orleans is a fun city. It's disgusting.
No, and you know why? Because I don't have all the facts, but I'm watching Sports Grid earlier in the week, and they're down there on Radio Row, and Scott Farrell on there. he throws out at the end of one of his show about the Pelicans and the Saints helping the Diocese of New Orleans cover up sexual abuse. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. How
like,
does that happen? They're
holy
a professional
cow.
sports entity. What are you even doing involved in it?
I guess the owner's a devout Catholic or something, but whoa. Really, if I go back to my youth, Jeremy, real quick, Raptor Birds were always my favorite teams.
Yeah. Well,
Falcons.
Clark Hunt's a wonderful owner.
Yeah.
Good devout Christian man. Probably has never done anything wrong in his life.
Yeah.
I mean, he made sure that Patrick Mahomes got drafted, and we know that from our conversations here that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest human to ever walk the earth.
Actually, I'm going to give it to Josh Allen, and I retweeted a
Did he win MVP? Would you tell me? Because I'm not going to look.
Allen?
Yeah.
Yeah, he won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he won
Why?
MVP. Huh?
Yeah, well,
That was I think I mentioned it was the big debate this morning on the mothership. And
Marty, just say it with me. You're always the MVP until it's time to beat the MVP. Boom.
Dan Narvis says Arizona Cards. They're close to New Mexico. Yeah, I loved all the bird logos as a kid.
Well, yeah, but then you have to deal with the Bidwells and
yeah.
Watch Kyler Murray's career get wasted.
I could probably be an Eagles fan, honestly, because I loved them as a kid. I mean, Jaworski, all that green.
First NFL game I ever went and saw was in the Astrodome. I want to say it was 1980.
Yeah.
I was very young. But I remember going to the Astrodome because there were people on our seats and Dad went to fisticuffs with them. Saw the Eagles play the Oilers in the Astrodome, which was pretty awesome. I don't remember a thing about the game, but I remember being in the Astrodome.
I'm sure there were some knees popped out in that green parking lot they played on.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, just that spray-painted concrete.
Can you imagine fielding a baseball off of that crap?
I've done it. But you never get a bad hop.
Well, that's true.
It's really fast. You don't have time
there had to be some bad hops with the way that
was. You see less errors because the ball gets to you so fast you can't think.
You don't have time to screw up.
That's right.
1980, you saw the Eagles and the Oilers. Who was was Jaworski the Eagles QB then?
I think it was 1980. Like I said, I was very young.
Yeah, you would have been young because you're 4 or 5 years younger than I was.
1980 Eagles, Oilers. Let's see if I can pull it up. Oh, okay. I would say that Jaworski was probably the quarterback. Vermeil was the coach.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a story. I don't want the story.
Was Pastorini QB for Houston then?
He might have been. Well, here we got the stats for the Oilers that year.
You know who I think one of the Oilers?
Kenny Stabler.
The Snake.
So I might have been in attendance to see the Snake.
Yeah.
Earl Campbell.
Yep.
Yeah. Man.
So Bum Phillips would have been coaching then, right?
Team. Yeah. Casper's on that team. Mike Renfro. Billy White Shoes Johnson.
Holy
crap. Ronnie Coleman. Not Mr. Olympia.
Outstanding. not the Arlington cop.
Yeah.
Wait. Dan Narvis says, I remember when they showed the Astrodome turf in the 68 All-Star game. Okay.
That's the thing about that turf. They wouldn't replace it all that often. It would get those seams in it.
That's what I was kind of getting
at. Go
at.
about a quarter of an inch.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, we played in the state championship game my senior year. And that game was, traditionally played at Lewis Field in Stillwater. Rust-Oleum Stadium.
Yeah.
So we practiced the entire week before at Owen Field, now Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium. And the turf was terrible.
What year was this?
Bad. This is 1992.
Okay.
Talking about, it looked like a sidewalk with how the seams were. You'd be running and just catch one of those and, ass over tea kettle, you're on the ground. Turf burn all over you. Yeah. And the turf in Stillwater was worse. But they didn't replace that stuff that often.
I didn't play soccer in high school, but our soccer team played on our football field when I was in high school. And they all wore cleats, like you do in soccer. And then they went to play at Union in Tulsa for a game, and Union had turf on their field.
It's
so you
Skilly?
got all these. No, it was their own stadium.
Okay.
They had a big stadium early on, and they had AstroTurf, and you should have seen those guys sliding around on that turf in field cleats.
Yeah, we wore basketball shoes.
Oh yeah. There was obviously there's shoes you wear for that specifically, but
The coolest thing about it is OU donated all of their turf shoes that they weren't using to the high school. So we got actual football shoes with basketball soles on them. It was great.
Yeah. And did they still have the arch on that? The slope.
What did they call that thing? Man, what did they call that?
I mean, you basically
crown. The
crown. You couldn't see the other sideline from your sideline, basically.
If somebody was over 6'2", you could see their head.
The great days of AstroTurf at Owen
you
Field.
go out there with the squeegee when it rains and just push it all into the sideline.
That's funny. Hey, congratulations to the Hall of Fame class. We'll see if Eli Manning makes it on the second go around. But
He'll
anyway.
get in. No one's saying he's not going to get in. It's just his numbers don't bear out a first ballot.
Yeah. Anything else before we jump into a Super Bowl preview?
Why didn't Lamar win the MVP?
Would it be Lamar fatigue?
I think whoever won that game in the divisional round was going to be the MVP.
Well, thanks a lot, Mark Andrews. But
well, now they're saying it's fraudulent on ESPN right now.
Oh, that's why I said. I mean, and I'm not gonna accentuate the dividing line of whose opinion is whose, but it's kind of there,
Oh, Josh Allen is deserving. Lamar Jackson is deserving. One of them has to win it.
I mean,
the differentiation there is Josh Allen made it farther than the playoffs.
Yeah, and he won head to head in the playoffs, and then I would think some of those goofy plays that Lamar made in that divisional playoff game, where it's, you're dropping back and you just I don't know. I know quarterbacks make mistakes. His just seemed to be pretty glaring and pretty badly timed.
Lamar can be a victim of his own ability at some times.
Yeah.
Because he's so dynamic, so athletic. If he gets himself into a really bad play, he thinks he can get out of it with his athleticism. And sometimes in the biggest moments, that just blows up in your face.
Buso says, how much of a difference is there between turf and real grass?
Oh my gosh, Booze.
Yeah.
Turf
and I would
is
go
like
as far, Jeremy is saying even field turf now. They've come a long ways, but even the field turf as opposed to grass is a lot different.
Field turf is spongy. That they keep old tires shredded up in it. Yeah. So that's that black crap you see that gets kicked up. It still catches the foot. You still see more knee injuries.
Oh yeah.
On
Ask
the field
BJ
turf.
About field turf.
AstroTurf, wrong shoes, you're shredding a knee. Ask Mike Gaddis. It's like playing on a parking lot. You hit the ground, it hurts.
Yeah.
It's a thin layer of, think about what's under your carpet. that little foamy crap, it's about a 1/4 inch of foam on top of concrete with basically the green side of a Scotch-Brite pad on top of it.
Oh yeah, good description. Man, your descriptors are on point today.
I dove for a pass in the end zone when we played in Lawton over at Cameron Stadium. We played a scrimmage down there before our season, and I dove for a ball in the end zone. No undershirt on because stupid 16-year-old.
Show off them abs.
Got to show off the gut. No, it was a gut back then. I hung out with the fat guys. I had to keep the weight on.
Oh god!
But hit the ground, hopped, slid, whole gut, rug rash.
Oh,
painful. Gross.
Who was your quarterback at Norman High in '92?
Former Tulsa linebacker Brian Self.
Okay, that name sounds familiar.
The late Brian Self.
Who was the key guy out of Norman High in the early '90s that made hay?
Tyrell Peters.
That was
all-day
it. Yeah.
linebacker. Yep.
Yeah. Did he graduate in '95?
90. See, he was 93 would have been his first year at
90.
OU. So
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
97, and then he was in the league long enough to get a pension.
He was
He
a
went-
and he was a solid guy on those defenses.
Well, he was an all Big 8 linebacker at
Yeah.
OU. He's in
was-
the top 10 in career tackles. He got drafted by the Seahawks, ended up having a few years with the Ravens. But if you remember the linebackers the Ravens had at that time,
Yeah.
he wasn't getting on the field.
No.
Those guys were different.
Make your hay in special teams.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Anyways, well, listen, we've got a big game on Sunday coming up, and Jeremy has a lot invested in it. Hopefully not financially, but I know emotionally.
We've already talked about that. I don't bet with my heart.
Right. Am I correct in seeing that the Chiefs are still getting 1.5?
I think the money line is at 1. Let me go to the evil 4-letter. Nope, Chiefs are a 1-point favorite.
Oh, okay. So I read that wrong on Sports Grid because I thought
Total is 48.5.
Yes, that stayed.
Oh, I'm sorry. The money line is even.
Yeah, Chiefs are a 1-point favorite.
That seems about right. After watching that team play all year, that 1 point, yeah.
I saw a stat on the mothership today, and I'll give them credit for their graphics team because I've watched a lot of Sports Grid this week, trying to really hone down on some of the betting stuff that they talk about. And man, anytime you've got a guy on there, and I found out I'm an idiot. I researched it. His last name isn't truly Rightside. It's not Donnie Right. Donnie Rightside's a nickname, but they put him on the graphic as Donnie Rightside. But then they also have a guy named Blewett. So you got Rightside or you got Blewett. So, but the mothership put out a graphic today. Your boy Patrick Mahomes, including playoff games, is 11-0 in indoor games, and his numbers are significantly better than that winter nightmare that they have at Arrowhead to get to the big game.
You mean a generationally great quarterback is generationally great in climate control? The hell you say?
Yeah,
Brees was great in climate control.
It's a stretch, isn't it?
Yeah, Manning was great inside. Yeah, a lot of these guys were great. Everyone's better inside. There's no wind to deal with. The ball's not cold. You're not cold.
And poor Rex Grossman had to play in a monsoon in his one Super Bowl.
Well, poor Rex Grossman.
Bad.
Yeah, but Peyton Manning had to play in that Super Bowl too, and it did affect him.
That's true. Yeah, so pointing a hook to the Chiefs. I mean, it's the Super Bowl. I guess my question is, everybody says that the Chiefs D and Spagnuolo is going to dial up a lot of stuff. What are you looking at?
Oh, I just had a call. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Thought you're having a bail.
No.
Spagnuolo is gonna have a lot of things that will be designed to give Jalen a lot of issues. Marty Wandry said it was the worst turf in Oklahoma. I guess that he's talking about.
Yeah, he's talking about Cameron University.
Cameron U.
Oh my gosh, it's bad.
Anyways, so obviously Saquon Barkley is one that you have to key on. He's a true game breaker. But I mean, you look at this Eagles defense or this Eagles offense, Jeremy, and I mean, we know Jalen Hurts can stay in the pocket. We know he can operate. Obviously, when the run game is clicking, it makes every quarterback's job that much easier.
Sure.
He's got a lot of weapons.
He does.
I mean, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, the tight end. It's just the true X factor because I think the Chiefs will go out and get what the Chiefs get. I don't see anything, I don't see them going out and just going fastest show on turf or anything like that, But I think looking at the Eagles, it all kind of depends on, what their offensive line is able to do to protect Jalen Hurts and open up some space for Saquon Barkley. And if they do, which we know Lane Johnson is an all-time talent, if they do, I like the Eagles.
Yeah, and we can gas them up all we want. That's kind of been the thing, but everyone's just going to be so upset when the Chiefs find a way to win because that's just what this team does. I'm not
It's
saying it. I'm not
it's
saying
like
it's
a
going to be a blowout, but they'll find a way to get it done.
yeah, and the last time they played, it was a close one. You know, they trailed
Yep.
at half. But I get what you're saying. It's like a horror movie, and I'm not equating. I don't have bad feelings toward the Chiefs, but it's like a horror movie where until you chop the head off of Chucky, he's not gone, and until you have all zeros on the scoreboard and you have a lead on the Chiefs, it's not over. We saw
No.
that with the Bills and 13 seconds left. You know, somehow
Yeah.
you get in field goal range.
And Jalen, if he doesn't have that inexplicable, weird turnover that shifts the game,
Yeah.
they might get it done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they improved their potency on offense a bunch with
they did.
Barkley this season. You know, I mean, Josh Allen is a great talent. The way he operates the Bills' offense is truly high motor. Didn't get it done in Arrowhead. I won't even go into controversy because it's not worth it. But just didn't get it done in Arrowhead. But I don't know. Have the Chiefs? I know they've faced so many teams in the league, but I mean, right now, the way the Eagles are playing, have they faced a team that presents this much threat on the offensive side?
Besides week 1 when they beat the Ravens,
Well, I mean,
Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson.
let's just talk playoff run. I mean, I don't count. I mean, I hate to go all ESPN, vouching for Ohio State here, but it's several seasons within a season, right?
Sure.
I mean, right now is who you. I don't see Buffalo's offense being as potent as Philly's.
They had the MVP at quarterback.
That's debatable.
Well,
you said yourself
we could all
the MVPs in the Super Bowl.
Well, I mean, it's time. Everyone's better than Patrick Mahomes till it's time to beat Patrick Mahomes, right?
Sure. I get that, but I'm just saying, does this offense present Spagnuolo and the defense more challenges than what they've seen in the playoffs?
Yes, it does. Because of Saquon Barkley, not because of the weapons on the outside, because they'll match up against those guys, Watson, McDuffie. They'll do fine. They'll get theirs, but end of the day, pass defense isn't going to be what wins or loses this game. It's going to be up front. It's going to be Chris Jones. It's going to be Aminahu. It's going to be Bolton and Leo Chenal being able to get off blocks, close down gaps, keep Saquon Barkley under 100 yards.
Yeah,
that's what's going to decide the game.
I saw that Pacheco's over under on yardage is 22.5, and Kareem Hunt's 43 and a hook.
So Philadelphia. So offenses ranked higher than the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo, Houston, Baltimore. So Kansas City's played all 3 of them and played them all in the playoffs.
Yeah. So you right now on this day and time, you would take those 3 offenses over the Eagles to play in a Super Bowl.
Well, no, they don't have Saquon Barkley.
There you go. Thank you.
That was just playoff numbers. Now, regular season, Baltimore, Tampa Bay, played them. 49ers are somehow 4th on this list of top offenses in the regular season.
Is Dan Quinn a top 5 defensive mind in the league?
Dan Quinn might be a top 5 head coach in the league.
Well, just on defensive. I mean, defense is his specialty. And how many did Philly put on Washington?
How many did Philly put on Washington?
55.
Oh yeah, that was a bad game.
So I mean, it's and I think I hate the gap between conference championship games and the Super Bowl. I know they have to, but you're just giving. It's like OU playing in that Orange Bowl against Florida. Give OU a 2, huh?
Oh yeah. Give Bob Stoops a month or 2 weeks to prepare. You're going to see some things.
Well, but I mean,
that year anyways.
I guess that's a bad example because you're without DeMarco Murray. But I just always thought that OU with those high-flying offenses and the BCS era, it sucked to see them have to give a team a full month to prepare for their offense.
Well, yeah, especially without DeMarco Murray, which
Yeah,
was
but
just
even Saban, in
yeah.
that Sugar Bowl, I mean, give him a month to prepare for OU's offense, and it didn't turn out good.
Well,
So,
they did that. They
but
made up that offense like during that month. That wasn't
yeah,
an offense that OU had run all year.
no,
There's
no,
no
it
way to
wasn't.
prepare for that.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm getting at is I'm going to roll with the Eagles to win until it's over. I mean, and then if they don't, then I'll eat my crow. But I just think this team just seems to present so much physical challenge
Yeah,
that
uh,
maybe
and I get that. I
yeah.
understand that the Eagles are. I mean, they're a great team, but uh, just everything tells me that Mahomes is going to get it done. That Reed and Spags is going to have an answer because they have all season.
Well, and Reed probably is the X factor when you look at it. I
Sure,
mean,
I mean you
when
got
you've
the.
got him on the sideline and everything that he brings to the table preparation wise and
I
in
mean,
game.
since Belichick retired, we could probably safely say he's the top guy in the league, right?
If he wins 3 in a row, is he the best ever?
Well, I mean, you got to look at track record. I mean, he's still the all-time franchise wins leader for the Eagles
Yeah.
and the Chiefs. No
Hmm.
one's done that. Lead both two franchises in total wins. He'll have 4 Super Bowls with the Chiefs. I mean, he's too short of Brady and Belichick, but they did that over a 20-year span. This has been 7 seasons, Chuck.
Hmm. Yeah. Uh, Jalen Carter will play a major role in this game for the Eagles. True or false?
True.
I
But
mean,
he's going to have his hands full with that inside of that Kansas City offensive line.
so him and he and daggone it, our guy,
Our guy,
your
Lane
center,
Johnson. Oh, Creed.
yeah, Creed Humphrey. That'll be a matchup to watch,
That'll
right?
be a heck of a matchup. You got 2 of the best in the league, that are going to go one-on-one a lot.
Percent chances Grant Calcaterra has an impact on the outcome.
7.3.
All right. Well, I don't want to try to play like I'm a some sort of insider or anything like that, but it'll be a fun game to watch. I mean, what, 1 year off and then they meet each other again, so
Yeah.
it'll be a lot of fun.
And a lot of Sooners. A lot of Sooners on that field.
Mm-hmm. 7 total.
Yeah, well, I mean,
in
McCabe Matower, if he suits,
okay,
is also on the Chiefs roster.
would that be 8?
That would be 8.
Okay. Wanye Morris, man, that guy's he's found some life.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's not going to play.
Oh,
They plugged him in at that left tackle. I mean, he's got a future as a right tackle or a guard.
yeah.
So we'll see what they end up doing with him. They got the big guy from Arizona. I don't know if he's going to play, to move Thuney back inside, which would be awesome if they could move Thuney back inside, that because that would really give that Philly D line a lot of problems with Thuney and Creed inside.
We got a bold prediction, Jeremy.
What's that?
Hold on just a second. Gosh dang it. Trying to find
Over.
it right.
Take that over.
Marty Wandry from Clinton Liquor. Hopkins will be unleashed. Take Hobson and the over 11.5 receiving yards. 11.5?
I think Hopkins has been a little dinged up.
Yeah, I mean, he's had
You know
two
who could
off.
have a massive game? And thank you for Dan Narva for pointing this out that we didn't mention
man.
it.
No
Speed,
kid.
speed, speed. Who's got the most speed? There's 2 guys.
Worthy and Marquise Brown.
Worthy and Marquise
Worthy
Brown.
and Hollywood.
And also for the Eagles, Jackson.
Yeah, Devontae Smith, man, that guy can
Devontae
just
Smith,
open.
sorry.
Yeah, he's like, I heard all week people talking about, he'd be the number 1 guy on half a dozen other teams in the league.
Yeah. It is truly amazing that you see so many small, fast guys running around these days.
Well, and Worthy, I mean, he truly impressed me, and I hated him in college. I loved the way he gave up the ball to Caleb Kelly, but
I like when he got stopped on 4th down at the goal line.
that one too. He provided me some joy in college, but you know, man, he impressed me with really showing what that speed can do to separate just, you know, in the blink of an eye. You know, when it looks like somebody's got an angle on him, no, they don't.
Yeah, when he can figure out where he is on the field, he'll be truly great.
Yeah, but
Especially on the sideline.
Dan Narva with a great point, and you know, I mentioned the phrase has been uttered already on this show, Jeremy, the fastest show on turf.
Sure.
But we'll see if the Chiefs can bring back some of those glory days when they used to really wheel and deal the ball. Everything kind of seemed like a sludge factory since.
Well, yeah, and teams play a lot of 2 high safeties against the Chiefs to, you know, limit the over the top stuff. So they haven't done it as much, especially they haven't had that speed factor since Tyreek Hill, but they've also won 2 Super Bowls since Tyreek Hill.
Sure.
So
yeah, they get the job done. I can't take anything away from them. I don't have a horse. Oh, go ahead.
It's like running the veer.
Just like Novocaine.
Just like Novocaine.
I don't have a horse, but I will probably say Eagles 35-32, which I think obliterates the over-under.
That'd be a hell of a game. Chiefs 28-24.
Say again, 28-24?
28-24 Chiefs.
Okay. So let's see. So you're going with the over?
Well, who wouldn't? I mean, what did Corey say?
Yeah, never take
sucker takes the under.
He did say that. And if you watch Bad Beats on Monday night with Scott Van Pelt, every one of them is the under. It's never the over. Anyways, all right. Real quick, Super Bowl. We got our predictions. Go ahead and comment your predictions if you want on the YouTube channels. If for those watching live. Jeremy, the NBA trade deadline was just, I mean, I hate to give the association credit, but it was must-see TV. There was so much going on.
It was fun this year. There was pettiness. There was, oh my gosh,
gnashing of teeth.
Oh my gosh! So
I can't tell you how many Mavs fans I have that I'm follow on Twitter that we know we know through the show that have just, I mean, they've almost jumped off Reunion Tower.
Well, my cousin Dennis Schroeder made a comment that the trade deadline was,
he equated it to slavery.
He equated it to slavery, and then proceeded to get traded 3 times in 24 hours.
I won't.
He's been traded 4 times this season, and I feel for him. Bring that man back to OKC.
He was much happier, but know, you're looking at a guy who, I mean, pulled a boner on his own career.
Yeah.
Jumping in the free agent market when
he bet on himself and it didn't quite work out.
Don't do that. Never bet on yourself. The haters are always right.
Yeah. Good call by the haters.
Good call by the haters. So obviously the Luka Doncic trade to LA, probably not that big of a ordeal if Dallas just sweeps the picks. I mean, if they just but I mean, you're not going to get a lot of picks from the Lakers.
No, they don't have any.
Yeah.
The pick they had, they traded the 2029 first round pick.
Exactly. Real quick, Marty Wandry, Chiefs 31-24, Busso, Chiefs 38-28. Dan Narva, what the hell, worked for me last year. Chiefs 25, Eagles 22, 2 times the charm. I guess I'm the lone Eagles picker out of this batch, but we'll see. But no, the Mavs got fleeced in the long term.
They did.
Short term, I mean,
they're going to be good.
AD brings a lot to that equation, and
keep one thing we haven't. It's one thing we haven't mentioned is AD has been learning to play through pain, which is something he's never done in his career.
He was out last night against the Celtics with an
second night of a back-to-back or abdominal strain.
Well, I don't know.
Got out of bed too quick.
He hasn't played since the trade, right?
I don't know.
I don't think he's suited up to Dallas yet.
I have been kind of monitoring it, look at his games played, and then
they got a big win.
I'm done talking. I'm just going to sit here.
Sorry, did I interrupt you?
No, you're good. No, I was just upset that AD had been doing so well in LA, and as soon as he leaves LA, he goes back to AD.
Yeah.
Street clothes.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, that 82 game schedule, they work so hard the other parts of the year.
I mean, Luka's so out of shape that he led the league in usage last year.
I love the fact that the Michael Finley video was circulating so strong.
Oh yeah. Well, here's what's going to happen. The Adelsons end game is to get that franchise moved to Vegas.
Exactly, and that's what only a few people none of the network talking heads even touched on it that I saw.
No, and that would be an absolute
Which tells you the
travesty.
Yeah.
Well, it's not like they haven't. The city has given them a new stadium in the last 5 years. They have won a title recently. They had a generational top 5 superstar. They were in the finals last year.
Yeah.
And they just said, nah, we're going to hitch our wagon to a guy that's hurt all the time and a guy that's about 45 seconds from flaking out and requesting a trade again.
Yeah. But I mean, if you got it, here's the thing. And I think when you cross continental borders to go perform in a professional sport, what?
Nothing. I just keep getting emails.
Okay. The lifestyle is way different than what you're accustomed to. Food's different.
Can't smoke in the locker room.
Yeah. I've seen it through my adult years watching European soccer. Kids come over from Brazil. They're superstar talents. They start making big money. They eat big dinners, living the lifestyle, and they get fat and they get slow, and they're not as hungry as they were. And I mean, I would think that the lifestyle change from the European theater to here would have an impact on him. But obviously, as an NBA professional, you have to take your training seriously, and you have to stay on it. You can't. You got to hire the right nutrition, and you have the money. You have plenty of money.
Well,
I understand. I understand Dallas not wanting to get latched in on a supermax deal with a guy who apparently has trouble staying away from the Golden Corral. I mean, he's fat. He's really fat, and I understand your top 5 player. You're that fat, but you won't be very long. He hadn't played since Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, we're not talking about a Zion situation.
Are we? I think we could.
We're not talking about Zion. He looks when he got off the plane in LA, he looked fine.
He's fat.
Not that fat. 270. He's 6'9". God dang it! Stop it.
Anyways,
they've had him since he was 19 and didn't. I mean, he was formative. They could have just nipped that right in the bud.
Yeah. Well, they were weary of him, regardless of what anybody wants to say. They were tired of him. They didn't want to pay him all that money.
I mean,
but
Mark Cuban could have made this happen. He was just too busy morphing into Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, he really should have stayed in basketball, not politics. But yeah, you're exactly right. And to me, I don't hear a lot of scuttlebutt about the fact that the ownership group wants to see if they'll tank, or because for those who didn't follow up on this, or maybe we didn't share it enough, I don't know. But it was news to me, and we talked to Corey, I think, about this, or maybe John Matthews, about the Texas legislature taking on the gambling bill, taking on a gambling bill to try to get it legal in the state of Texas. Man, you talk about some Indian casinos getting the hurt. If they pass that and build a resort casino in DFW,
oh yeah,
you could shut WinStar and Choctaw down.
You probably could.
Yeah,
man,
I mean,
the city of Durant may die.
There's a lot of Texans in there, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news to our friend Steve Anderson down in southeastern Oklahoma, but man, and that's what one voice that I heard said was the goal of the ownership group, was to get it on the bill, get it, and be able to build a destination resort casino in Dallas with the Mavericks being featured.
And that's a way to go. The WNBA already did this with the Connecticut franchise, didn't they?
I don't know.
You're supposed to know these things.
Yeah, I'm sure I am. But anyway, so that was an interesting aspect of it is, it's basically, give us gambling in the state of Texas so we can build this and keep your franchise here or we'll move to Vegas. And
That's just terrible.
So Mavs fans probably should gnash their teeth if
I-
they're looking at a tank job.
I mean, I do not understand that, and the city of the Mavericks fans should 100% just pitchforks and torches and get after them.
Yeah.
It's not like the Orlando Magic or the Charlotte Hornets wanting to move. But this is a team that has won.
Yeah.
It's a franchise, a good franchise.
Yeah, they're a
And
historical franchise.
And they're gonna. I guess we've seen it in our lifetime. The Seattle SuperSonics moving to Oklahoma City, but
Yeah.
that was
Well, and-
that was a power play with the city who wouldn't build them a new arena. Dallas has had 2 new arenas in the last 20 years. I don't know what else they could want.
And that was the thing online is I was so stunned at all of the backlash about American Airlines Arena. I mean, it's not even 20 years old, is it?
No, it's not 20
mean,
years old.
What can you keep doing to keep building? I mean, and I hate the fact that the Thunder basically, strong armed the city of Oklahoma City into building a new arena.
But
I think that sucks because
you got a 50-year commitment from them. So
yeah.
think of the dollars that team's going to bring in. Think of the dollars that team has brought in. Think of the parade route, Chuck, after this season's NBA title.
Yeah. Man, Chet's
Because
back.
the boogeyman's back, baby.
The boogeyman is back. They picked up another center, Brendan Carlson from New Orleans. So
They did? They picked up Brendan Carlson?
that's what I saw online. Verify me.
I know they no, it was Daniel Tice.
I saw.
No, let me go to the Twitter machines. They traded for Daniel Tice for cap relief for the Pelicans, but they've since waived Daniel Tice.
Thunder signed Carlson to fill out injured front court.
Really?
Oh, sorry. No.
No, that was earlier this season.
Yeah, that was before. Oh, so they traded him?
Yeah, they've already waived Daniel Tice.
Okay.
So yeah, they signed
Twitter
AJ
really
Mitchell.
kind of threw a loop on me there because
Yeah.
I wrote that down as I thought I saw it. My bad.
The Thunder have since they've waived Tice and they converted AJ Mitchell's contract to a full NBA deal.
Okay.
Because they've got iHeart, they've got Chet, they've got Jay Will, and Usman Jang. So
He
they've
played
got
pretty good the other night.
they've got enough big bodies that they're comfortable with.
Okay. So Chet's back. Just crown him now.
Crown them.
Spurs pick up De'Aaron Fox, and it helped immediately the other night against Atlanta. He got 24 points. I like the pickup because
Imagine
ball
what
is-
that guy was a good player in Sacramento, but now he's playing for a competent franchise, and that's when guys tend to blossom.
man, Jeremy, Sacramento is just such a wasteland. That's the franchise that should be moved.
Hell, I was thinking the Bulls after the crap they pulled. They traded
Aaron Levine. Levine.
Zach Levine to
Zach Levine.
Was it Sacramento?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
For their own 2025 pick that they traded to get DeMar DeRozan.
Can we get that back?
Yeah, we just want that back. We don't have DeMar anymore. We'd like the pick, thank you.
Yeah. Biggest punks in the league, the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, but that's the franchise on the rise. They're playing good
They're in
ball.
the running.
Yeah.
Would they present the Thunder a tough go in the playoffs?
Yeah, probably. They were well, I mean, that was their Super Bowl when they beat them down there in Houston.
Yeah.
But then came up here and lost by 25, I think, if I remember correctly.
Well, I know nobody likes them. And then
Well,
last night I see Anthony Edwards and the enforcer they picked up from Memphis. You know what I'm talking about. Brooks.
oh, Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
He was doing his typical stuff. Like I said, I like the De'Aaron Fox to the Spurs pickup because I think honestly. I mean, the Chris Paul thing was, I don't know.
Chris Paul's probably gonna get bought out, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's probably just time, don't you think?
Yeah, he can he can get on a contenders roster and get some minutes off the bench. Maybe
Well,
get
Spurs
deep
are
in the
22
playoffs
and
again.
26. They're 12th right now in the Western Conference. They're 3-7 in their last 10. But like I said, De'Aaron Fox helped them get a win against Atlanta the other night. So it's a good pickup. I'll take
it is.
You know, they've got a, I don't know. It's sad. They've got a layup tomorrow night at Washington, who's just truly terrible.
Can there be two Siberias?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is
One
that like
East Coast,
the Gobi Desert?
one West Coast. Michael Busso said, "I thought LeBron was going to build an expansion team to Vegas. He may still.
Yeah, it's easier to poach a team than it is to start
the
from
Warriors.
scratch.
The Warriors just cannot beat the Lakers. That game last night was, and you're 40. You scored 40. Great for you. I mean, he stands around half the game.
I know it's tough to
He
watch.
cherry picks. I mean, it's the typical old man pickup game.
Well, and here's the thing. Just think of when him and Luke are on the floor together.
That's what
They're playing
that's what
3-on-5 on one end of the court.
I heard Barkley saying last night, he's going to have to change his game because they're not going to be able to just stand around and what happens to Austin Reeves now?
I don't know.
He fades away, wouldn't you think?
Maybe.
He's not going to see the looks that he gets now.
Probably
which I'll
not.
give LeBron credit. LeBron will pass the ball. I don't
You
know.
got two guys that are the system that don't play any defense.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Jackson Hayes got a little spring in his step last night.
They traded Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
And he was one of the bright spots on their roster.
They're looking at getting Claxton, I think, big man.
Speedy?
No,
Nick.
not the pride of Drexel University.
Speedy Claxton's still in the league?
Hey, let's get out. Hey, real quick, I want to recommend do you have Prime?
I do.
Underground Inc.
Okay.
Like short for incorporated, not like tattoo. Underground Incorporated, Underground Inc. It is a documentary about the alternative rock scene in the 90s,
Nice.
separate from Nirvana. And a lot of bands that we talked about on there, Helmet. I didn't realize that Helmet, and this is kind of where I was in the 90s. I was into a lot of different music, but dude from Helmet went and started a band called Handsome.
Uh-huh.
And they're pretty good.
Handsome? Like
yeah.
SOME? Okay.
Yeah, like you're very handsome.
Oh, well, thank you.
Another one called Sugar Tooth, I think.
Okay.
All these alternative bands that I just was. I mean, I knew Helmet. They also had the bass player from White Zombie, which I never knew they were alternative. But it was an interesting documentary. And it was interesting to see.
Any Screaming Trees?
No, they didn't. It was non-grunge.
Okay.
It was a lot of non-Seattle stuff. And but anyways, the Helmet story was pretty interesting. Another band called Cop Shoot Cop. I don't know. But some interesting storyline and some music that I thought was kind of interesting. And they had remember Monster Magnet?
Heck yeah, Space Lord.
Space. I just remember about the line about when I don't get my bath or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it's an interesting.
That's actually in the playlist, Chuck.
Do what?
That's actually in the playlist.
I kind of figured it would. That's right in your wheelhouse back in the youth days. Beard's coming in nicely.
No, thanks.
It's 4 days.
It's a labor of love.
That 4 days long.
Well, I have to trim it every once in a while because I have a length requirement for my job.
Yeah, you do.
Bastards.
Are the Schroeders secretly Greek?
No. No.
Do the Germanic people grow beards that quick?
Well, my mother's Scottish, so.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why there's a lot of red in it.
There you go. Anyway, so Underground Inc. documentary. I also watched one called Song for You, the Austin City Limits documentary. That was kind of cool.
Okay.
a lot of Austin hype.
Yeah.
Did you see my tweet about when Cooper Manning was on the Dan Patrick Show?
I don't know if I did or not.
Man, you were kind of radio silent there for 3 or 4 days. I worried about you.
Yeah, work stuff.
Is it just kind of a Chiefs prep week? You focus on the game.
Pretty much, yeah. Got to go dark.
Cooper Manning was on the Dan Patrick Show. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and their Super Bowl week and everything. And he's going over all of the hardships and the trials that Arch has dealing with NIL and playing at the University of Texas.
I'm sure he's having a tough go.
My comment was, really inspirational to hear these hardship stories of kids born on third base.
Yeah, right.
Dan Narva referred to him as a red zone baby. So
that's right.
Dan always with the quips. All right, let's get out of here. What do you got going for the weekend besides? Are you working Super Bowl Sunday?
No, I'm off. I'll be
okay.
I'll be home watching the game.
Well, if you're doing nothing Sunday night and you feel like doing a quick 30-minute wrap up, we can.
Sounds great.
Don't want to commit and lock you down, but I don't think I'll be doing. I mean, I don't drink anymore, so I should be functional.
Yeah, I've been. I haven't had a beer in a long time, man.
Once I hit 50, Jeremy, it just. Social setting, I'll have a beer, but just at home, I'd just soon have a ginger ale.
Yeah,
that's where I'm at now. Yeah, I've been.
Yep.
Hey, after 2 weeks of bronchitis, buddy, I've been hydrating like a crazy man.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Get you some liquid IV and get after it.
That's right. All right, he's Jeremy Schroeder. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, and we are Law Dog Sports, and this has been the Weekend Big Show. Thank you for everybody who jumped in on the YouTube broadcast. We'll just stay live on YouTube, Facebook. Thing is, I jumped over to Facebook because I thought we had more fans there. I didn't see that big of a tip, so YouTube's a little easier. So
we had a lot of good interaction today. So.
Yeah, and then we'll also look into the streaming software that helps us get on multiple platforms. So it's a labor of love, Jeremy, and you've been with me for 6 years of it, maybe 7.
Damn, has it been that long, man?
Well, it'll probably be 7 in April.
Okay, all right.
I think it was April of 2018 we jumped in.
That sounds right.
Can you believe COVID was 5 years ago?
Yeah, I know, right? God,
that's bizarre.
I know.
And I still see people wearing masks.
I know. Well, usually their hair is an interesting color too. So
there's some sort of roll up on top of their crown.
Uh-huh.
All right. Have a good one, Jeremy. We'll talk to you possibly on Sunday night. We'll let everybody know on social media if we do.
Good deal.
Jeremy Schroeder, Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, Law Dog Sports. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.
Oh, look, a magical